8 days. Break your heart every time you open it up. No move, no move, no move. But one day you will be very pleasantly surprised. And the dollar yen, to be honest, can keep going because the threat of intervention is keeping the market kind of a little bit bid. If that threat goes away, it's going to be trading 75 in a heartbeat. Okay? And you could be sitting up there at 81. So here's my point. Grind currencies. There might not be a lot happening, but in these pairs, when they go, they really go. And you can be really, really well rewarded. Okay? Charting, things to watch out for. People who love charts. This is a little of an exaggeration, but I think it is what's the right word? It definitely demonstrates the point. Traditional trend lines, in my opinion, are not the best way. They can be a little misleading. Yes, they're not that they're an easy way, but they're a good way of defining where the range is and where the trends are and where support and resistance are. But if you're trading purely on trend lines and have too many trend lines, it can avoid confusion, or it can give you confusion. It'll signify incorrect selling and buying points. It'll also give you lots of areas where you most likely will get stopped. It'll give you false breaks. So for example here, if you hadn't seen this part of the chart, you might think that this might be an opportunity, that it might go lower. Maybe here might be a better example here. So this looks here like a sell signal. You had lots of people probably looking for it to go lower, and they were stopped. So what I tend to do is I don't really tend to use trend lines that much or too many of them. I only use one or two, and I kind of use them really on a corrective basis, and I'll show you that now. Rather than, here's a trend going up, rather than basing my trend line on the bottoms, what I do is I use the trend line tops. So that was my first point, that was my second point, and luckily that was the third point. And then I draw a parallel line down to the base of where this trend began. And really what it's telling me here is that rather than trying to follow where the trend is going to go up, it's telling me where the trend is going to correct or break. So if you can think about it, if you're using trend lines, try and think of it in a slightly different way. Use it as a trend change rather than a trend following. In other words, they're signaling where the trend is going to change. And as you can see from this parallel technique, that when it broke this line here and it failed again up here, this definitely confirmed to me that we had changed the trend. If you had had a parallel line running up here, that also may have. And in this case, it would have signaled, it wouldn't have signaled a trend change, but it would definitely signal a false break, and you could have bought there. So I don't particularly like to use trend lines as buying and selling signals. I just like to use them as a gauge of where the trend is, but in particular if the trend has changed. Okay, so just to be careful on that. What I like to use for identifying where real buying and selling opportunity is in candlesticks and in what I call, well, fractals are called. And basically, a fractal is very simple. It's a candle like this. It's a candle like this, and it's a candle like this. And basically, what it is that it's a full-bodied candle with a small body and quite a long stem, and the same in a bearish signal. Okay. Now, what does that mean, and why are they so powerful compared to all the other instruments that you have on a chart? Well, for me, it's very simple. I grew up in the exchange pits, and basically when you were standing in the pit and a guy had an order to buy, 10 lots of euros, and another guy was selling 10 lots of euros, and then a guy came in and said, I'll buy 3,000 euros, 3,000 lots. And he bought it there. And the guy sold him the 10 lots. And then another guy sold him 2 lots. And then the guy with the 3,000 lots say, where is it now? And they lift the offer a little bit and says, I'll take them all. And then basically the whole market scrambles. And basically anybody steps in the pit knows at that price they're never going to sell. And they're only going to be a buyer because they know that that big buyer is going to be there. And this is what these little candles here are basically telling me that a central bank or some big hedge fund or some paper or somebody out there in the world or collectively, this is a defined low. And what it means to me is that if the price goes below this point here, we have a significant trend change, So this means for me, I look at this and say, this is a bullish signal. And then from these patterns, I'm able to read a continued bull market. And I'm able to play the market from the bull side. These can be done in different time frames. And within these candles, on an hourly and on a 15-minute, you have a kind of further confirmations of these candles. And they are all bull signals or sell signals, depending on which way you're playing the market or which way the trend is. So it's a very, very good way of being able to make a decision about where to buy and sell. And I have them again, just here again, as you can see, there's key fractal support here. And here's a very good case of where you have a nice fractal here, and you can place your stop here, and you can go long here or here and have a nice stop. I'm going to show this on the live examples. But fractals are something you should look up. If you look up YouTube and type in fractals, there's lots of people who will tell you more information about it. But essentially, I find using those tools, the fractal in particular, is a very, very significant and powerful tool. And I'll give you an example. The last day, I kept this chart the last day, and this is the one I used the last time. And that was what happened on the day. And about a day before, I think it was. And the euro did go a little lower, but essentially it then corrected as far as 145. And it didn't go much lower. Now, it recently has, but it was a very powerful signal. People who use stochastics, I've used stochastics. They are good for telling you sometimes when a move may be on, there might be more of a magnitude move, but to actually use them for buy and sell signals on a regular basis, they can be dangerous. And I wouldn't encourage them, and I tell you why. Because to me, the market is still very bullish there. There's plenty of bullish signals there, and here's telling you sell, 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 sell. Now here, it worked. But really, you would have been stopped out in the majority of these trades, and you probably would have been stopped out here, and you would have been stopped out here. And maybe, yeah, you probably would have been stopped out there as well. So I think if you're starting to use charts, and you're starting off, or if you're even experienced, I would eliminate this from your studies. Because I think that there's enough from the fractals and from corrective trend lines to be able to tell you when if you can believe in a trend, and you have the discipline to believe in it, you will make money. It's difficult, it's hard, and if you can apply the whole, understand the personality of the currency and know where to put your entry and where to put your stop, and identify the trend, you have a really good chance of making money. And I think some of these can make things a little confusing. So again, putting it all together, I'm going to do some live examples now. But again, as you can see, this would be an example of kind of a bear market. So here's my bear trend line, another bearish kind of a trend line. But again, here is a fractal that's formed, and it's a warning. I think this was definitely, this is the 24th of May. And the market never went lower. It went all the way higher for the next 6 weeks. And there was a number of these bull signals. And it was remarkable how strong those signals are, irrespective of these guys and irrespective of other things. So fractals are I find, really, really, really powerful tools. So now. Okay. So we might as well do a few trades. Okay. Oops. I don't know, I'm having a problem here opening your chart. Let's go options, allow. Okay, so this is the euro. And every day you wake up, you kind of go, what am I going to do? So we'll start here in the very beginning. So this is the weekly chart on the euro, okay? what I would tend to do now is I would just kind of try to identify where the main trend is, okay? So what I would do is very simply,